Good morning, and welcome once again to another Direct Misfire live stream. Today we are on the second day of the Australian Kings of War Masters. Round 4 is about to get underway, and joining me today, as always, is Selec, hopefully.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, audio form only.
That's it.
Digibot, yeah. Let's jump over to the fellas now. As they just get set up, ready for deployment. Andrew Goodman just stating that he's made his first mistake.
I chose sides.
Ah, right, he's chosen sides, so we'll see if that pays off. Okay, let's get my ugly mug off the screen here. Hopefully we can see names. I think the names are correct in their position. And I'll just bring up the current standings, just as we wait for these guys to sort of get ready. Where are we? Round results, rankings, there we go. And that is what the current table looks like. So we've got Jeff Traishy and Andrew Goodman, number 1, Max K, then Paul Collins, Luke Schaefer Adam in 6th, Steve Devonish, the former master, sitting at 7 currently. Followed by Rex Gibson, Matt Curtis, Damien Madigan, Dan Harwood with his herd at 11th, Matt Truella, my pick, is not doing too well at 12th. Then we've got Kakwa, one of the apparently OP dwarf army lists, at 13. Then Lyle, Steve, Tuck, and followed by Ed coming in last at the moment.
Yeah, so this battle is going to be the one that decides the undefeated. So Traishy obviously taking on Paul Collins, big name there, Truella, your favourite, and Adam Story. And now he's going to take on AG, and Andrew Goodman getting through Matt Curtis, Max K, and your nemesis, Damien Madigan as
That's
well.
right.
So, yeah, this is going to be pretty much, I think, who can take out Masters. So
yeah, because Traishy is currently undefeated. I think Andrew might be as well, but
yeah, both undefeated.
Let's just jump back over to the table. There's always that gap of no audio. Okay, here we are. I feel like that regular dwarf. There we go. That text. Done. Okay, I'll bring up the current matchups in just a moment while I fix that up. But as you can see, guys still haven't put anything on the table. I'll change the turn 6 back to deployment so we know what's going on.
And it's fool's gold, isn't it?
That is correct. We'll change that one as well. Have you got the scenario up? So people understand what fool's gold is if they don't know.
I do not.
Okay. I haven't either, so give us a sec. Good to see Barry on the chats there. Very keen. Thanks for joining. That's not the results. Current standings. Next round. There we go.
Yeah, so we can talk through, I guess, a little bit of what fool's gold is. So this is after rolling for the sides. We're going to put down. This is the bluff counter one. So we're going to be putting down. I think it's 10 bluff counters, and then at the end of round 3, all of the bluff counters are flipped and they reveal their value. So I think they get 1, 2 each, and then a couple of ones, and then a couple of zeros as well. So yeah, I know that you're a big fan of this one.
I love it. I love the interplay with the tokens, not knowing where things are until obviously later on in the game. So you can't just sort of go all in on one side because you don't know what your opponent's put down. You can sort of almost kind of guess, but not quite. Okay. Sorry, just typing out the things so that people can see the stuff.
So I guess a little bit of background between these two. They've been playing against each other for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And Traishy definitely does have the edge. So across multiple tournaments, across multiple states. So that will be in the back of AG's mind. He wouldn't have slept too much last night thinking about this battle.
Staying at the house with a lot of the masters last night, a lot of the conversation came back to Andrew asking, so how do I beat Jeff? What do I have to do?
That's very true. And Abraham, who is on our YouTube as well, who decides where the terrain goes? It's not all randomized. This is all something that's set across all of the Masters attendees. So every table inside the Masters will have exactly the same table set up. So it's all predetermined by the tournament organizer.
Good to see you there, Abe. Work, mate.
Is he an honest Abe?
Yeah, I think he's a very honest Abe. Perhaps too honest Abe. You know, me typing and trying to talk at the same time doesn't work too well. I'm getting distracted. Okay. And this Mantic Companion's not the easiest to navigate. It keeps snapping back and doing things I don't want it to.
That's right. So apparently there was a bit of a cloud flare,
Yeah.
some technical hiccups over in the UK, which took everything down.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all up and running now.
Table 6 is Matt Truella, Mr. T versus Dan Harwood. Have I got that? No, I don't. And we'll go through their lists also in just a moment. Oh, maybe I'll just bring it up now while we type in.
Yeah.
That'll be the smarter thing to do. Okay. So let's go through Andrew Goodman's first. Excuse me.
And just for the listeners, did you have any beers last night, Benson?
No. I was cooked. I didn't do much of anything other than listen to the conversations. I was trying to join in, but my mouth wasn't working. My brain was, my mouth wasn't. Alright, let's just jump over to the list now. Okay, starting off with Andrew Goodman and his dwarves. He's jumped on the bandwagon. Maybe he's been on the bandwagon for a while, I don't know. But he's taking 3 hordes of shield breakers. One of them has the Jesse's Boots of Striding to allow him to ignore difficult terrain for 1 turn once during the game. We have a couple of troops of Berserker Brock Riders. These are cavalry, Berserker cavalry. One has the Skirmisher's Boots to give them nimble, which means they can do a couple of pivots during their movement phase instead of just the one. He's also got a Berserker Lord. This is a cavalry hero. He's got the Gnome Glass Shield, giving him defense 6 until the first damage is taken, then he reverts back down to defense 4. Also got 3 Dwarf Lords on large beasts. They're all standard, but they're still defense 6 Lords. They're chunky boys. And then he's taken the formation. So this is the Bullwalker Regiment with throwing Mastiffs. Just once off, 1 use only shooting attack. So got 2 of those. And he's also got the Ironclad Horde with Hammer of Measured Force, meaning he's going to be damage everything that Jeff has on A4, regardless of their defense.
Yeah, pretty classic combination, that one, isn't it?
And also this a Dwarven Standard Bearer with the Loot of Insatiable Darkness to give him the Bane Chance spell.
Yeah, honestly, that whole setup, they may as well just include the extra points, because that is exactly how everyone runs it. So,
And here's Jeff's list. The Abyssal Dwarfs. So he's got 3 troops of gargoyles, some excellent flying chaff there. Very cheap, very annoying. And then he's got 3 hordes of the lesser obsidian golems, just giant rocks, basically. Defense 6, fearless. So excellent anvils there. Then he has taken 4 regiments of the Abyssal Half-Breeds. They're all naked, no special items, no nothing. But They're great. Very excellent cavalry. Then we've got 2 of the Hexcasters, little annoying wizards that cast Hex to try and deny any spellcasting on Andrew's side. And I guess they also have weakness to debuff the enemy. And lastly...
Yeah,
Sorry?
I think the weakness is going to be the biggest item on that. I don't think the hexing is going to be too groundbreaking.
I don't think... Yeah, exactly. And then he's got 3 half-breed champions. These are cavalry heroes. One of them's got a Blade of Slashing to reroll a missed hit during combat, but otherwise they're pretty naked. Again, excellent units. They're a little fragile, but defense 5, and they've got regeneration, and they inspire, and they're very quick to get around. Right, we'll
I think correct use of weakness is going to be very, very pivotal in this battle. I think because it's that regen, if you can start to knock off an extra crushing off some of the opponents and then back that up with regen of whatever gets through, I think advantage Traishy just on the list.
Yep, and we'll just jump back over to the table as they set up deployment. Okay, so they are on the clock now, and you can see them tapping the clock on the far right side of the screen. I'll need to bring up my little pen again, so I can start drawing once more. That's not what we need to see. Something's happened. Where did that go? Because it's a green screen thingy. Right, so as soon as I open it up, it's going to... take over, which is not what we want. Might need you to set that up again, because I don't know how. So we can see Jeff has deployed his 3 gargoyle troops at the very, very top of the screen there. And as you would expect, Andrew's deploying all of his infantry right up the front to push forward as soon as he can. Table... Now I'm still typing these things out, aren't I? Yep, okay. Really should have done this last night, but the companion was down. Well, Cloudflare was down. So what are you going to do? I think we're just about there, though. We've got 8 tables. I think that's all the names. I can't see any double ups. So just while Andrew thinks, let's have a look at the current rounds. Who's playing who? There we go. Nope. Let's save it and let's update it. And let's change this because it's not correct. There we go. That's where we're sitting. No. Alright, let's jump back to the table. Okay, now is there anything standing out here? So it looks like Jeffrey up the top is hiding his Abyssal Horsemen, a couple of the golems and one of the champions behind the hill to prevent any sort of ranged shots that might come his way. It also might be because those hills are quite sheer, so you can't really rest anything just on the edge. He might also just be deploying as far forward as he can. I can't quite see.
Yeah, so I just think Traishy's, because he knows he's got the speed, and particularly in this scenario, I think he's going to leave a lot of his moves for that last 3 turns, and he knows that AG is going to be a little bit slower to react. So all he's going to have, realistically, is the Lords on Beast that moves 7. So he's going to have to tie them up a little bit in the later rounds. And obviously the ordered march that all of the regular old dwarfs get. So he's just going to watch that, I think, a little bit and deploy accordingly.
Yep, Cloud Flare did go down, and that killed the companion app, which is in the UK. That's where it's being hosted. But it's up and running again. And Andrew doesn't have much shooting. He's only got a couple of the throwing mastiffs on the formation unit. So trying to get rid of those gargoyles is going to be a challenge, unless Jeff wants them to shoot at him.
Yeah, I think the gargoyles are going to be what's going to help him. He's just got to protect them. He can't use them as the chaff, as you normally would. But I know that AG, he uses gargoyles a hell of a lot, so he'll know how important they are for this battle. So it's going to be very interesting how he's going to try and deal with them. He's got to throw the mastiffs at him, right? Or he's got to throw lords at them.
Yeah. Well,
and that's that one that he's just deploying in now, the Berserker Lord. That could be the important one, and he's not really sure where to put it. But I think that's going to be the one that's going to have to try and take out the gargoyles. It's got the speed and the versatility to be able to get around it.
So we can see Traishy's drop those abyssal, or those the golems into that lake in the top right. It's not going to do much in terms of reduce their speed because they can't at the double anyway. So that it only really matters if he goes to charge out of the thing, they'll be hindered. But I think he should be out of that by the time combat hits. I'd like to get the green screen up, but it's going to bugger up the visuals here for a moment unless I change to something else.
Yes, so over on the left-hand side you should have a little split screen. Sort of like your views.
Yeah. Okay, yep.
And then obviously from the green screen, I think I sent you a Facebook message just on what to do with that bit.
Jeez, okay. Alright.
Don't want to give all the secrets away on the YouTube. Oh, first turn. Looks like AG rolled a 5. Not sure who got first turn. It's an ominous AG shadow
AG,
there, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'll just change the... There we go. Ah, it's done it again. Go away. Okay, so it looks like he's pushing his dwarves forward, so the first turn's not going to be very interesting. Never is. Well, it usually isn't. Nope, still does it. Bloody hell. Alright, how about we change over to a different screen slightly so you can still see the table, but it doesn't look like it's going to affect it when I try to set this up. Hey, there we go.
What we might do is use the power of the internet, and I'll jump in.
Yeah, save me, Selic.
Alright, I'll go on mute, and I'll
okay.
Be back.
Alright, so you can see me typing on my phone. Can't get away from the camera now. move this over. Okay. So, looks like he's moved one of the Bulwarker regiments, I think they're one of the Bulwarker regiments, onto the hill. Bit of a defensive position, and if Jeff manages to get within charge range of that unit on the hill in dead center, Andrew might be able to charge off it and get a thunderous charge bonus. Bit of extra damage power there. Jeff doesn't have any shooting in his list either, other than the Hex casters, who can do a bit of damage when they cast their spells. So very little is going to be happening in the shooting phase in this game. That piece of terrain that Andrew's moving his units by is an impassable piece of terrain. The only thing you can do with it is fly over it. You can't walk through it, so he has to sort of navigate that bottleneck there. And same with that red square in the bottom right of the table. That's a house, which is also impassable. Oh, I'm clicking when I shouldn't. Sorry, Selic. So he's trying to think about that forest, which is just above that unit which Andrew's moved, because you can't see through it unless you are inside it. Because it's big thicket. I mean, it's only got 3 trees on the actual table, but pretend it's a forest. That means a unit's going to be relatively safe to move up, as long as you can pinpoint Jeff's line of sight of the units. So just making sure that they can't see around the thing. And then he's moving his little individuals up to follow. And that's his turn. So we go over to Jeff Traishy's first turn. And as expected, he's moving his obsidian golems up. He can't quite move them out of the lake there, but I'm sure he's fine. He might get charged by the Dwarf Lord on Large Beast, which is on the very far right there, because it's got the charge range. And just measuring the distance between another one of those large beasts and the cavalry. The cavalry will be faster. They're speed 8 as opposed to Andrew's Dwarf Hero, which is speed 7. And when you go to charge, you just double the distance. So Jeff has a charge range of 16. Andrew's going to go a charge range of 14 inches. He's got very safe positioning there. And he's on top of a hill as well, so like I said earlier before, if Jeff manages to charge off that hill, he will also get a bonus to his thunderous charge, making it easier to crack through that defense 6. The obsidian golems also move up onto the hill. Looks like they're also partly standing on a fence, which I don't think it's going to affect the golems. I think they might have Strider, which means they sort of ignore the penalties of what terrain can do to you in combat. Still can't go through them very fast, but they are slow chunkers, so that's fine. I also found it interesting with Jeff's list. Those obsidian golems are shambling, and there is a spell called Surge, which allows you to move a shambling unit in the magic phase, or the shooting phase. Roll a bunch of dice and you move forward that many inches as the amount of successful dice rolls. But he's got none of that, so Andrew doesn't have to worry about any shambling shenanigans. Thank you very much, Death by Dragons, aka Steve, aka that guy on the internet. trying to class the game up a little bit with a nice tie. So Jeff
Alright,
still.
and I'm back.
Well,
I'm
welcome back. All right.
I've travelled to Canberra and set up the green screen.
Yay. It's a 14-hour trip for that. All right, let's get out of this split studio mode so I can see things better. There we go. Sadly, not on the internet much at the moment.
But it's a good plug to have here. Death by Dragons, if you haven't already followed him on YouTube, jump over after, obviously, our stream's all done. And follow
Not now.
Death by Dragons as well. So, a good man of the community. There.
Alright, where's the magic pen tool? There we go.
So, as expected, AG's moved up very aggressively, hasn't he?
Well, he's got to. I mean, there's a bunch of tokens about, and he's got a slow army. Jeff has certainly got the speed on him there. And looks like there's a lot of tokens on the back line, like as far as we can go at Jeff's side. So we've got, where are we? Boink. So we've got one here, here, and here, which is going to be quite difficult if Andrew's trying to get through there. Meanwhile, like, the distance between that back line and this back line seems a bit out of whack. Maybe that's Andrew's strategy.
Yeah, well, I think he's probably hedging his bets a little bit here, isn't he? So based on that beast hero, I reckon the one on the far right-hand side that's only just in, I think that will be his 2. So I think he's going to try and block up the the stone golems, and they go from there. Easiest way to get rid of these ones, Benson, is just Control Z.
Okay. So, just so you know, people, I work in IT. Okay, moving one of the dwarven hordes into the forest so they can see through it, and inches up the large beast out of the charge range of the golems, but will probably be in charge if he wants next turn. I should change this to turn 2.
And I suspect he probably does want to be charged here, right? Just purely, he's going to be getting those guys charging across through terrain, and then he's going to have the beast in the flank, if that's how he goes.
Yeah. There is one of the little heroes down the very, very right side, beside those golems. It might be hard to see.
Yeah, no, it's clear as day, mate. That's the Abyssal.
Right here.
Little hero there. Hits hard. Doesn't take too much of a hit, but I guess if I'm Traishy, I'm going to delay that fight as long as possible.
Cheers from Spain. Thanks for the stream. You're welcome. Glad you could join us.
Spain, a beautiful part of the world.
Were you over there recently?
I sure was. I was over there for just about a month, I think, in Spain and Portugal, before moving on to France and places. I nearly got to see Death by Dragons, actually, and then he ditched me at the last second.
Oh, snubbed.
And by last second, I think I gave him about 24 hours notice or something to come in and see me. Which, like, the good people would have.
Yeah.
That's fine. So AG, a big move there through the middle. It's going to force the issue, try and get rid of that hero. And that's probably a little bit of a slip, to be honest, from Traishy. it 1 or 2 millimeters back, and that guy doesn't get killed.
Yeah, Jeff
No,
does
no
just
need
sort
for
of
him to be
eyeball
there.
it a lot of the time. He's pretty
Mm.
good at it, but occasionally he does make a mistake. Bit of discussion there in terms of placement of units there.
Now, my only issue, I guess, with AG is he's definitely going to kill this hero, most likely.
Yes.
He's then going to overrun, most likely,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to do a couple of wounds on those defense 6. He's not going to hurt them
No, but it
majorly.
holds them up.
Yep, it does, but they're going to counter and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure he's got enough to counter. Like, AG doesn't have enough to counter it next turn.
Mm.
Because AG is going to be counting on the off the hill extra thunderous charge to try and get through that defense 6.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to open him up a little bit. So once again, the speed of Traishy over in that left-hand side. He's got quite a bit there just waiting for AG to come off that hill so he can flank.
And none of those Abyssal half-breeds have any sort of terrain mitigation, so that one stuck in, well, I say stuck, but sitting in the lake in the top left, is only going to move 8 inches or 16 if they charge, but be hindered, hitting on 4s, so they're probably not going to, I wouldn't think they'd get through any of the Dwarven units without a bit of luck. Good use of arcs there, measuring angles, making sure things can't hit other things in flanks. Always practice
AG's
just to leave them there.
very meticulous on the angles.
Mm-hmm. Just sent you a message, Selic, on the Discord. Okay, up and over go one of Andrew's units in front of, looks like one of the Brock troops. Marking that angle so the half-breeds don't get a flank charge, has to be a front charge. And just a little bit of a finagling of that Brock troop behind that regiment. Still very wary of that Abyssal champion, that lone individual.
I think he has to be a little bit cautious, particularly in these first 2 to 3 rounds. He's got to be aggressive in some aspects around his movement. I don't think he wants to commit too early.
Mm. It doesn't look like that champion is got his nose in the forest, so he can't see through it. So where Andrew has those yellow templates, that little champion guy cannot see to charge. When does the tokens start to reveal themselves as to how much they're worth?
Round 3.
Okay.
At the end of round 3, yeah.
Yep. So looks like he's got that Berserker hero into one of the half-breed regiments. That's the Berserker Lord with the Gnome Glass Shield. 7 attacks hitting on 3s, crushing strength 1, and re-rolling 1s to damage because of the Vicious rule. And defense 6 at the moment. With a bit of luck, he might even take them off.
Need a bit of luck.
One of the big weaknesses of Jeffrey's list is there is absolutely no inspiring. Nothing gets to re-roll the nerve check.
That's unusual.
Oh wait, hang on, I lied. One Hexcaster has the inspiring talisman.
Which is probably just about to die, right?
Probably. It's a very risky move doing that.
Yeah. as your only inspiring source. So you can see AG there did just measure from point to point, closest point to closest point. That's purely, that is the shortest distance, which is the charge distance.
And that's Half-Breed Champ is such a great unit because it's nimble and it can get through all the nooks and crannies. So if he wanted to, if he was in range, he could see that unit there, sort of go in that line and sneak in the corner here behind that guy. Man, that control Z, it's pretty good.
It is good.
And we're off the hill with that horde. No bonus for them, but I don't think he cares. Be great if we could see through his head.
Yeah, there's a hair studio commercial here somewhere, but that's all right. So once again, this is what I was saying: is he had to move them off the hill to make sure that he could capitalize on the counter charge. So what he's had to do there is on the left-hand side of that unit, he's had to charge the individual in just to block off that so that he doesn't get the flank later on. What this is going to mean is that Traishy's going to have to commit gargoyles to blocking that unit up.
And gargoyles are great scoring units in this scenario, definitely.
Yeah, and against this list. So that's what I would do. Traishy somehow manages to make me look silly occasionally. But we'll see how it goes. A couple of rolls here.
We just had a combat on this unit here. Did a bit of damage, but not enough to break them. At least with Andrew's nerve dice, he's using larger casino dice, so it's easier to read on screen. There we go, double one, the first double one. Right on the important combat, right here. That's not what Andrew needs. We were talking last night about to win a tournament, you don't need great luck, you don't want bad luck, or awful dice.
I don't think he did a lot of wounds though on that hero as much as he would have thought. It's still going to make Traishy think a little bit though, because yes, he will definitely delete that unit, but now he's got a few more options around what he commits in. So it's going to be interesting to watch Traishy, what he's going to do in this turn for sure.
Traish wanting to charge the flank of those Brocks, so he shoves that little hero back. Andrew's saying that those units were much closer before Jeff started moving. I guess we can look back on the stream to see if that's the case.
Yeah, it must be said that it's very easy to look over the top and analyze exactly where everything is. It's a little bit harder when your hamstrings on day 2 are crying a little bit. There's going to be a few little things that just happen with this. So it's not Traishy being sinister, I assure you.
Caffeinated Warlord literally explaining how good his dice are to see, and then you get a nice example of how good they're not.
Caffeinated Warlord, another one after our stream finishes, jump over to that. He's been doing a lot of battle reports at the moment for Kings of War. So if you're still keen to see some more, jump over there, and he sort of walks it all through in a very friendly manner.
And it looks like they've just paused the clock to bring over one of the TOs. A bit of a dispute here.
Oh, bit of drama.
I think he's questioning whether or not they are hindered or not.
They would definitely be hindered, so.
Yeah. Jeff arguing that they're on the hill and, like, physically, because their hills are, what, 2.5 inches tall, It's not actually touching the fence.
That
But
would be
looking
hindered, sir.
top down, it certainly is.
It's hindered. It's hindered.
Yeah.
Get me over there. I'll live stream in.
So the golems charging the front. Looks like
Yep.
a gargoyle unit as well into that horde. Probably not going to take them off, especially now that they're hindered.
Yeah, interesting choice. I'm not sure I would have committed the gargoyles in just yet. I think I would have gone straight over the top with the gargoyles, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, they're a very flexible unit. You want to keep them away. They're not going to add much to the combat. And the golems are not going to take them off. And then it sort of opens them up to a flank as long as there's range right there.
So that's a really good move there to double charge the hero. Because the horde on the other side of the trees just won't be able to see.
Just here.
So that's a very safe move.
Yeah. So even though it's exposing the flank, the horde can't actually see it to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and I think the thing for me is that the horde almost has to move into the trees next turn. Now, assuming that he one-shots his hero, that means that he's offering up a flank if he goes into that woods. So it's going to mean that AG cannot go in that woods.
Yep.
Which is it's going to hurt him a little bit here.
Alright, well, I'm just going to stand up so I can get a better view of this game in person. Okay, doesn't look like he's released any of the dogs yet.
No dogs.
Jeff being a bit cagey, being a bit more defensive with that hero there, moving them back just slightly, taking his time.
It's going to be interesting to see what Traishy does with the regiment. Because you can't just because they hit on threes with the formation, you can't just let them just walk on in, particularly not against your defense 4 units.
It's easier having another commentator to chat with. Yes, yes it is. It is considerably easier.
We're all former masters here, caffeinated warlords, so we're all good.
Well, it certainly saved my voice not having to talk for 2 people. And I've said in the previous streams, turn 2 is usually the longest turn. Turn 1's setting up and turn 2 is, alright, now that things are set up, how are we going to answer some of the problems that my opponent is presenting? Turn 3 and 4 is usually the dice rolling, and 5 and 6 is shit, the objectives.
Alright, so this just had to happen. So the gargoyles had to come out to commit here because he can't take all of these charges. So he has to block them all up somehow. Already on the right-hand side, you can see that the golems on Traishy's side there, he's saying, yep, you can charge me, but probably only with 1 unit.
And angling the way that he did sort of gets them a bit closer to be able to charge next turn if he chooses. And that use of gargoyles is exactly what they're great for as well. Not only is grabbing objectives if they survive, but gumming up your opponent's lines. They're not worth very much. So
yep, so that's the regiment. So he's charging in there. He is going to be hindered with the spears. But he knows that he's just got to pause that just to be able to react with the knights. So now he should be able to have 2 free knight units. Or horsemen, aren't they?
Yep.
I forget what they're called.
Abyssals.
But yeah, they'll be able to both free at the end of this turn to be able to react to whatever AG has. So that's a great move here. Just had to do it. Ominous dice rolling as well from AG. He's left the snake eyes on the red dice down the bottom left-hand corner.
Maybe if they leave them facing up that long enough, it's not going to happen again. They won't
Well,
remember.
We'll see. Don't tempt fate.
Okay, looks like we got a combat over here. Like I said, that little half-breed champion snuck in there. Exactly where I pointed out. Okay, it's doing only a couple of wounds. Ooh, they're nice. Damage counters. Might have to inquire about them. Can't quite see the numbers from here, but...
Yeah, we're talking about the MDF turn counters.
So Jeff has just remembered the regen on those half-breeds up the top there, which is why he's removed that white poker chip, which is what he uses to track damage.
Ah, perfect.
I think each single white poker chip is 1 damage. And
That
uses
is
a different colour for groups of, might be 5 or 10, can't remember.
Yeah.
So this looks like the charge into that single hero from the golems and half-breeds.
They're hard to take off. Although golems will be wounding on 2s, won't they, with vicious?
Yes.
So if he hits, happy days. Looks slightly below average there.
He's only got to do 1 wounds to break that gnome glass shield, dropping him back down to defense 4. So now it's 3s to wound. That's probably the vicious roll, rolling a few 1s there. Vicious allowing you to reroll 1s to damage. And putting them on 13.
That should be enough.
Roll once, roll twice, and they're gone. First
Get
blood.
out of here.
And now that they've taken that character out, they have the ability to overrun or shift their position. Might be a bit difficult because they're so jammed up at the moment. You can't overlap your own unit and sort of leave it there, so looks like Jeff is just shuffling sideways with the golems.
Okay, he just wants to be a little bit careful here. He doesn't get into the woods.
Yeah, I think that's what
And
they're looking at now.
Yeah. Or too far, obviously.
And we're back. Yes, we are. Good morning, Josh.
Morning, Josh, indeed.
And the half-breeds also follow suit, shoving over a little bit. I would have pivoted, but that's just me. I'm not a master, am I?
Hey,
It's like-
why is Traishy gone into the woods there with the...
It's probably nudged. Hopefully they pick that up when he moved those horsemen over. I think they both agreed before moving anything else, though, where the position was. Okay, and this is the very central combat here, doing a couple more wounds. Looks like they're in the woods now, but I think the intent was to not, after a small discussion between the two.
Yeah, we've got to be a little bit careful. AG is very much a... If it's in the woods, it's in the woods. So it's going to be interesting to see if he tries to take that charge or not, depending upon what that on-the-table discussion was.
So I don't think these 2 units are going to remove that horde. I'd be very surprised if they did.
It's just going to pop in here and do a little bit of damage, I think, and that's going to be about it.
Will he have enough to finish it off later, or is this just a futile effort? And not even going to roll that combat because he's doubling attacks being in the flank on a very good combat unit. So Andrew just said, just roll a nerve check, anything but double 1s.
Yeah.
And they're gone, and so he reforms, changes position to face the front.
Get out of here. Chuck it in a bin.
Is that a polite way of saying game mother effer?
Rules as written, I would say.
This must be the gargoyle scratching, doing not much, or is this the half-breed champion?
Caffeinated Warlord here is exactly right.
Yeah,
The
no
laser
mercy.
pointer of Arbitrator.
No
of
mercy
truth.
with AG.
Show no mercy.
Okay, turn 2 is over. On to turn 3. Andrew Goodman's.
So at the end of this turn, they will be flipping the tokens.
And then we'll see exactly what they're supposed to be fighting over. And for those who are just joining and not sure where everything is, looks like we have... let me get my thing in the right position.
Just while things are getting in position. So we'll be getting some little marks here. These can be 0s, 1s, or 2 points objectives. So at the end of this turn, turn 3, these will be flipped. The 0s will be removed. And then it's going to have 3 or 2, potentially. 3. Yeah. Potentially 3. There we go. I'm doing some quick math in my head. Potentially 3 rounds to be able to identify them and get to them to claim them as objectives. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for AG. See how he's going to be able to try and capture these.
It looks like there's just a bunch of counter charges here. Andrew just confirming which one exactly is going to fight. So not going to fight the gargoyles and taking on the golems. Might be a mistake because it leaves his flank open to these 2 units up the top. Even these little gargoyles, looks like their leader point is going to be in their flank, and although they don't seem like much in the flank, they're still hitting on 4s and vicious. With 10 attacks, that'll make it 20. That's not nothing. Those gargoyles on the right-hand side, you would think, are done for this turn. And now he's just checking to see if that is going to fit right there. Which it is. Proxy base is always good to pinpoint where your units want to go without actually moving your units. And the horde walks into the forest.
That's it.
Yeah, forest. How many games today? And these the finals? Yes, we've only got 2 games today. This is the second last game. So we're currently watching the top table, and we'll also watch the top table next round as well. So Andrew and Jeff are currently positioned 1 and 2.
That's it.
And we'll be watching one of these armies again next round. Whoever wins.
Whoever the undefeated one will be. That's it. Probably the winner out of Max as well, the other game table. Who was it? Max and something else.
Yep, there's certainly someone else.
Yeah, that's it. Death by Dragons. When is Caffeinated Warlord going to make it the Master? You nearly made it. Got 23rd overall in Australia, I do believe. Only played the 3 scoring tournaments this year. So we'll try and drag him out to a couple more. I know that he travelled a fair bit this year from memory, so couldn't make it to as many as he would have liked.
So it looks like 3 and 4 at the moment are Max and Paul.
Max and Paul, that's the one. So once again, because of that combat through the centre there, when they deleted the individual, means that AG really fears that forest. He just can't quite get in it, and he can't tie things up. So he could throw his Beast Lord in and tie up if they're saying that that is in the forest. But if they're saying that that's out of the forest, if that was agreed, then he's got a few issues here. He's got to try and navigate away from those trees.
YouTubers gotta back YouTubers. So it looks like the Brock troop is countercharging that Abyssal Horseman just on the far left there by that terrain where he's got his hand.
Mm-hmm. But this unit, this one's the one, right? How he uses this horde, because he can't lose it cheaply.
So his hero on Large Beast moves through his own units. No, you can't charge through your own units unless you're flying, in which case you sort of go over them. But you can move through them if they don't intend to charge. As long as you end your movement clear. So it looks like he's just sort of stepped out in front and just sitting there, waiting for the Abyssal Horsemen, or half-breeds, in the very top left corner.
So I just wonder here if
You
AG
would.
has been focusing so much on the impact of that wood that he has actually missed the fact that he is sacrificing the central horde with a flank.
Possibly. Maybe he's getting too focused. I can see there's a bit of adrenaline happening at the moment. He's getting a bit shaky.
Because I can sort of see it now with the way that that Beast Lord is currently angled, and I think it's facing what, northwest. So just from my vision
this way?
here,
Facing
So if-
that way. It's awful.
we'll see. Depending upon if he's left that cav unit in range. So I would be able to slip straight past that and position in and then not have a counter charge.
So it looks like
Potentially.
he's moving that regiment on the far left up, just in front of the pond, getting in the way of the half-breeds. Keeping it
Campinated
at
Warlords made a very good observation here. Look at that trembling measuring tape. Oof,
Yep. Like I say,
that's
the
adrenaline, sir, not fear.
Yeah.
He's up for it. Fight or flight.
The only way some of us get to the Masters is to do the YouTube video and chats with the players between games, says Simon. Yes. That is correct. I didn't attempt to even contemplate about attending the Masters this year. We already made the decision last year that I'd be commentating, so I didn't attend very many tournaments or try very hard. Okay, looks like we got some combat. We're doing that Brock troop against the half-breed champion on the far left. I'm pretty sure he'll be wounding on 5s with the defense 5 of the half-breed champion. But they might have... Oh, they've got Vicious and Vengeance, which means when they counter-charge they get a crush 1. He's done 4 damage. Rolls a 7 for the nerve check, which is not enough.
Yes, there we go. That's going to have some regen as well, isn't it? Regen 5?
It does. So hopefully heal some of them back in his next turn. 7 dice here. That looks like it's from another lord on a big boy beast thing.
Is he trying to one-shot this unit?
This
Through
is the
the middle.
little half-breed champ.
Ah, okay.
Fight. Yeah.
So we haven't done the central...
No. We're looking at
Lord.
this one here.
Yeah.
No vengeance on this one, so we've got 5s to wound. And 6 damage onto the half-breed champ there. Rolls a 16, and then rolls a 3.
Oh, is that a cry as well?
Yeah. So that half-breed champ is still there. That's what the inspiring did, so he must have had a hex... Oh no, Oh, that's right. The half-breed champs are inspiring.
Yeah, he survived.
Forgot about them. There's actually got a
Yikes.
bit of inspiring. So that earlier comment of no inspiring, there's actually 4 sources of inspiring in this. Doi.
Ignore us.
Yeah. We know game.
We good at game.
It is a little ironic that Andrew is facing his favourite army. Well, at least when you face your favourite army, you know how it plays.
I agree. Half-breed champs, and I've played Benson quite a bit with his half-breed champs, and I find them infuriate because of their high nerve. They just seem to hang around and then regen back, and you feel like you're grinding on them for ages.
No surprise here, the Dwarven Horde take out the Gargoyle troop, and then they pivot to reposition, staring down that half-breed champion, also making sure that they're not exposing their flank to the half-breed regiment up the top, just to the left of the top right pond. Out comes the measuring stick, just to confirm that it's not a flank.
As long as they're happy with it.
Yeah. Now we've got another combat. So we've got the attack on the far right onto the obsidian golems. 7 attacks.
Will be hindered.
1, 2, 3 wounds. A couple of cracks in that armor. Won't be enough to break them, so he doesn't even roll. There's no point. Now we've got the fight in the middle, the Horde versus the Golems.
Yeah, he's pretty much going to have to one-shot him. That's his only best bet here. I'm not sure if he got a Bane Chant off on these guys or not, but probably needed it.
Rolling a lot of dice. Now he's got to count the 5s and or 6s, depending. Pardon me, he's got a good roll here. Halfway through.
They will be inspired.
Oh, didn't roll high enough on that second one. He only needed to roll a 7, ends up rolling a 5 on that second one.
Yeah, well, 50-50.
And then we move over to Jeff's turn 3. How does he answer? Obviously, there'd be a couple of counter charges. You'd think he'd take the flank of that Horde there.
Yep.
That central.
Absolutely legging it with the gargoyles.
Get them out of the way.
I just want to keep them alive for whatever happens at the end of this turn when we flip the tokens.
The half-breed regiment on the top left. You sort of have to go for that. It seems like a waste going for that regiment, but you're also exposing that token. Unless he goes straight down to that Brock troop that the Abyssal Champion's currently fighting.
Just clears that up. He will take the Beast Lord in the face, though, if he does that.
The half-breed regiment comes down off the hill into the right central Horde of warriors. They'll
it's going to do some damage. Won't kill him, and will probably die in return, to be honest.
And the upper right half-breed regiment shoves over just a little bit, just sort of sidesteps a touch, so we can get some room, some clearance. And out zips the half-breed champ on the very far right.
Did the knight unit not have a flank charge on the Lord?
Probably, but then if they do that, the Horde onto the Horde, or did you say Horde or Lord?
The Lord. Lord.
Yeah, they would have, but that leaves the that infantry Horde free because he wouldn't have been able to fit both. There's one or the other.
Oh, I meant on the far right hand side.
Oh, right. possibly out of arc,
Okay.
especially after this position. If you move it over an inch or two to the left, definitely would have been out of arc.
Interesting that he's bothered flanking with the gargoyles here, to be honest.
I guess it sort of gets them a bit closer, but the Dwarven Horde on the left-hand side might be able to be in range now, possibly.
Yeah, it was more for... I thought he would have flank charged with the golems.
Does AG have no shooting all? He's got a couple in the form of throwing mastiffs. He's taken 3 throwing mastiff upgrades on the formation. That's it.
Jeez, AG's really just tied up that unit in the middle there now. It is facing pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
And I suspect that it's probably going to charge the gargoyles next turn, just because that's its only option. I'm not sure
It'll be
the
hindered.
use... Yeah, it will be hindered.
You might fluff it on some gargoyles.
Yeah, well, it'll go to 4s, won't it? But, yeah, I'm just not sure I like the way that he's used the obsidian golems. Just north of those trees. Just purely, they've locked them off there a little bit. So unless he knows something we don't about
Maybe
the placement of some of these tokens.
He's defending against that regiment. Who knows? So the Abyssal champion that we're fighting, the Brock troop, has done a runner. Wasn't able to regen any of the wounds and has just booked it out of town. And no charges there on the left-hand side. The half-breeds splash about further on into the pond, and the gargoyles decide to say, "Now bugger this," and get out of dodge towards the centre.
Yeah.
Possibly,
Has to definitely save that unit, because it's going to be highly reactive in the latter turns.
yeah, I'd be shooting it down the bottom right-hand side of the table in preparation for these tokens. So one of those has got to score, and there's got no other way to get around there really. So keep them alive, and you'll be fine. I don't think there's anything else that he needs to regen, so he's got no way to heal the rocks either. So I guess we come down to combat. Unless he's forgotten the regen on that half-breed champion that's
He certainly has.
taken 10 damage.
Oh. AG's pointed it out there, has he? No?
Yep,
Yeah.
now he's pointed it out.
Oh, what a gentleman. He's just like, take this off. Take that off.
And how many do we get? Only 2. Remove a blue, add 3 white. Still in dangerous territory to lose it in one more combat. I think that players that don't take flame belchers are missing out. Yes, they are.
They certainly are.
They're bent. As we've seen in one of the previous games, Rex taking 3 flame belchers and absolutely devastating his opponent
Literally
Lyle
devastating.
until he timed out. So it looks like we're casting a spell, either weakness or hex. I
Bit of
can't
a-
know.
Bit of a hex there, I think.
To do some damage, because the hex casters, when they cast that spell and succeed, they can do some damage as well. The opportunity to deal damage. Same again on the Horde, looks like. And they take a damage. And now he's rolling the nerve just to see if he can waver it with a lucky double 6. No, they're all fine.
I'm sorry to hear that, Simon.
Having to face 2 flame belchers is a real
That ain't
pain.
right. That ain't right.
How's this? I was thinking for the next Clash of Kings, if I play goblins, and if they use the command dice and orders and whatnot, taking a flying stinger, because he has duelist and scout, which means he can get right up there in the first turn and start to threaten those individuals holding the command dice. I know it's not a
Yeah.
very probably impactful thing to do, but no one ever takes stingets, and it might be fun.
Well, in the order of the game, fun is king. So I approve.
Might have to find a ninja goblin somewhere, a ninja goblin model, and paint it up. So into combat here. We have Jeff rolling handfuls of dice. It'd be great if Spoon was playing with his massive casino dice. We'd be able to see exactly what's rolling here. Okay, it looks like he's done enough damage to take them off.
Ooh,
There
that's
goes
big.
the central horde. And the golems pivot and take everything with it. Okay. And now they are facing possibly the regiment just to the right of it on that hill. You suggested he uses those flame belchers, so it's your own fault. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, just making sure they got that unit in the correct position after that pivot, not being a bit sloppy. Bit of an angle because of that bloody hill. And the half-breeds do the same thing, they pivot. Not quite as much.
Gets the thumbs up from AG there, didn't he?
Yeah. Just confirming, yep, that's where they should be now. The gargoyles move a little bit and sort of flap about awkwardly.
Ooh, interesting move with the knights though. That angle means that he's not going to be able to respond with anything if the knights charge. Sorry, the
The golems.
Yeah.
The golems move forward a couple of inches. It might clear it, but at that particular angle, maybe not.
You know, it's potentially outside of 8 inches now for
Yeah.
that horde, sorry. Charging through the...
Yep. That's probably why
fence?
he's angled them like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They might be ones for vicious. There is, I think I heard 9, 10, 11 damage. And it failed. That's just the half-breed versus the horde.
It's going to hurt him. It's not going to kill him.
Champion does some damage. 6 attacks. And looks like 4 wounds, I think I heard. Might uncover one of my ears on this headset so I could potentially hear what they're saying. Who do you think has it at this stage?
A good question. I think I would prefer to be Traishy at this stage.
Yeah.
I just think he's got
He's still
lot
got a
more
lot of punch.
flexibility, and he's still got the speed, so he's still got those 2 gargoyles that can react.
Mhm.
I think that if we have a look at AG's at the moment, he's tied up pretty bad with all of his scoring units.
And that central horde has taken a fair amount of damage now, and there's still that unit of half-breed up the top there that haven't really done anything, so they could take him out next turn. That's another horde down. AG doesn't have the speed to get around and pick up
No.
any tokens, but we'll see what happens. They now stop the clock.
Stop the clock. Speaking of stopping the clock, I do believe we'll get a companion update very shortly.
Ooh. What are the
Dave
clocks
Fanning?
at?
What are the clocks at? No idea, mate, but they're stopped.
We are at 28 minutes for Jeff, 29 for Andrew.
So, 28 and 29. Clock shouldn't be an issue with both of these armies with lack of shooting.
That'd be good.
Should just be able to punch through.
Okay. So we have 2, 1, 2, 1.
Yep.
And we've got a 1. And what's on the file left there?
It's a 1.
That's a 1. Yep.
2 twos, 1, which means another 1.
Okay, alright. Remember the 2s and everything else is a 1. Cool. And I'll just jot down on the map here exactly where all the points are.
Wonderful.
So, the 0 tokens have been removed, and we have a 1 here, we have a 1 here, this one is worth 2.
Hello to Josh Davies
is worth
in the
2.
chat there. Hello, Josh.
We've got a 1 over here, and there
Where are you
is
dialing in from,
one
Josh?
here. Yes, there are a lot of Abyssal Dwarfs on the field still. Jeff has been a bit cagey. He's not throwing everything in, picking his battles. Andrew just hasn't had the speed to get up there and try and chase them down yet. And each player just under half hour each, as we hit the halfway point in the game, which is on track. So there's no point keeping much in the left-hand side of the field. There's only 2 tokens there, or 2 objective spots to sit and guard. It's all down the centre and to the right. You keep that, you win.
Well, as predicted, I thought the 2 was definitely going to be on that right-hand side, very close to the centre line. So, AG, you're getting predictable, my friend. But he's in a pretty good position with 2 to potentially 3 turns remaining to defend that, with that horde in the woods.
So the Lord on the Big Beast and the now hindered Dwarven Horde charging out of that forest into the golems. The Horde countercharges the half-breed cavalry.
Yeah, interesting that he's charged out of there, to be honest. So, I guess he may be able to move back and claim that.
Hello, Josh D. Sorry, I didn't greet you there. Welcome back. Pardon me. It's almost drink time. It's only 10:40. Jeez.
You're a thirsty man.
Well, talking does that. Was at a tournament last week. Went to go grab a drink. Sorry, mate, we don't serve alcohol before 12. I was outraged. Had to settle for a juice.
Juice. Alright, there's hands and fingers going everywhere here. Not sure what's going on.
So it looks like the Dwarf Lord has countercharged the Abyssal Champion here.
Which should be good. He should be able to overrun into the flank.
I think this guy is facing those golems to the left there. I can't quite see. Maybe I'll get up and just have a look which direction they're actually facing. Yes, that is correct. And I couldn't see it on the map here, but there is actually, looks like there's an individual right here beside, in between the Lord and the regiment, just south of that northern hill, which is why there's that MDF token there, I'm guessing.
Yep.
But Andrew's sort of got a clear run on the far left side. There's 4 free units able to do whatever they want, staring down just a regiment of half-breeds and the Golem Horde. But what does he do with them? It's only worth 2 points. That section there, probably not fast enough to get to the other side of the board.
No.
So it looks like he's moving the Brock troop, charging the half-breeds into that pond on the far left there.
Right. So it is going to be hitting on 5s, though.
And they'll lose their Thunderous Charge. They're vicious, so hitting on 5s, wounding on 4s, rerolling 1s.
Yeah. It's a token gesture, isn't it? It's not going to kill him.
No, and they'll counter charge and take him off. But that's probably why he's leaving his infantry regiment there. They're still armed with some dogs,
Dogs.
and I'm pretty sure they're Bullwalkers regiment, so they have
That's it.
phalanx, which the half-breeds do not want to charge, because it'll be neg 1 to hit, and lose their thunderous on that too.
Well, I suspect they're going to get some rocks in the face anyway. So
That infantry horde pivoting once more. Looks like they're facing towards the half-breed regiment. Sort of floundering about. Not sure what to do with that unit. So he stays outside of 10. And looks like he might be still outside the forest.
So how is it looking? So we've pretty much got, if AG takes the right flank,
Mm-hmm.
so he's obviously got the Beast Lord there and that hindered charged horde. He's got to kill that unit in this turn, so that he can actually get out of there.
Freeze them up.
Yep. And then I don't think the Knights won't take that horde in a turn.
Mm-hmm.
But they will die in the counter charge most likely. So, like, Traishy's going to have some decisions whether he even takes that charge or just totally gets out of there altogether.
So it looks like he's releasing the hounds. This regiment's infantry on the left has shot its dogs at the Abyssal champion there, doing a couple of damage. And looks like this central regiment beside the golems has launched some dogs. Maybe it was at this thing, not the gargoyles.
Yep. Probably would have gone with the gargoyles instead of the rocks, but
His rolls an 8 for the nerve. And then a double 1. What? You got something. He got the Abyssal champion, but not the other thing. Andrew telling me off, telling me to stop giggling.
the dirty snakes. Oh
Yeah.
dear.
Getting the champion something though with some dogs.
Yeah, he won't be unhappy with that because even wounded, it comes in and it still does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And to leave it out by itself is just going to regen those wounds back eventually. So
And it also makes this
Wait, why not?
combat a little safer because he doesn't get that reroll of the nerve, but the combat has just been resolved and he didn't take them off. Did 5 damage and wasn't able to roll high enough.
yep, only the 6 for a total of 11.
So he's done some good damage onto the central Abyssal champion though. Doesn't need much to take him off, and he does.
And he will overrun into the flank here.
Yep. And so he just basically pivots him and puts him back into position now. So now that guy can get another round of combat.
Yeah, had 8 wounds coming into that combat. Needed a big regen, and I think he only regen 2 back previously,
yeah.
so... Wah, wah, wah. Alright, so that makes this next combat a sure thing.
Mm-hmm.
So... It's with the gods now. Another Snake Eyes would be nice for Traishy.
Don't tempt. So no point rolling the other round of combat because they're already over the nerve limit. No rerolls on the nerve because that champion is gone,
Yep.
which is also good to, when you're doing multiple combats like this, take out the inspiring units first before doing any of the other combats. Get rid of
Definitely.
that second nerve roll.
So that's put... Assuming that AG can take this... Iron golem-y rockstone golem dudes in this turn, this has definitely strengthened his position because
Yep.
Traishy's only going to be able to hurt one unit from here.
Yeah.
It's a few scoring units.
Dwarf Lord overruns 3 inches. Probably not enough to cover the charge from the half-breeds if Jeff decides to go that way. Now the combat onto the right-hand side against the rocks.
This is a big one. This is actually huge. I think there's only 1 wound on him or 2 wounds.
Looks like 3 from the stack that I can see. And Obsidian Golems have a nerve of 17. They are fearless, you can't waver them. So it looks like there's 6 damage so far, tallying up to 9 so far. Now we've got the Lord.
Lord's usually pretty reliable, although he will be only on Crush 1.
And that's another 4, bring him to 13.
Wow,
Low roll.
that's a great roll for...
Does it once, does it twice. Gets rid of him.
So that's a massive combat. That was a very lucky Dwarf Lord roll there.
Weakness has disappeared. Looks like he cast weakness on that horde. And so now he's angled them in such a way that if the half-breeds choose to charge that horde, he will have to sort of slide over and be hindered. Not sure what he's going to do with that Dwarf Lord just yet. There's still a half-breed champion on the very, very far side. And he's leaving him facing towards the centre of the board. And it's Jeff's turn.
Turn 5.
Bottom of the 4th.
No, bottom of the 4th. Well, that's definitely brought AG back. Death by Dragons, I think we were saying that we would prefer to be Traishy. Look, he's still got the speed.
He's still got a lot of stuff.
But AG's got a lot of scoring points and it's a lot of nerves still sitting out there. It's hard to tell exactly how many wounds are on those, but...
Okay.
It's only a few wounds. He might be able to just trigger a couple of tests here and knock off those hordes.
Jeff marking down the position of his Obsidian Golems to see just where he can put them. In case he decides to go back on that move, he can put them back exactly where they were.
What good play.
Measuring the distance between the Golems and the Horde at their finishing position. They're probably within charge range if Andrew decides to charge them, and probably in the flank as well. It would be a hindered charge, because they'll have to finish up in that forest. That woodless forest, no trees. There you go, put the trees back.
Bit of regenning there, by the looks of it.
Looks like we are going to double charge, possibly. If the half-breeds in the centre can see that regiment, just to the right of the Golems. Otherwise it's a single. They declare it as a single. Rocks into the Dwarves. The Golems have 7 damage on them so far, so I don't think they'll be lasting too much longer.
No.
The Gargoyles pivot and flap their wings 20 over to one of the tokens worth 1 point.
And this is exactly what we thought the Gargoyles would be doing, right? Late game, AG just won't have the tools to be able to knock them off.
Nope, those dogs have been thrown out, so nothing to catch them easily.
So that's just the bank right there.
And if AG decides to get off those points on the far right with that Lord, they could even potentially just decide to fly with that 2 points.
And depending upon how many wounds that Lord's on, the hero may be able to take it, to be honest.
Let me have a look.
15, 17 on that Lord on the far right.
It's got 5 damage on that
Got
Lord.
5, so currently needs a 10 to waver.
Yep.
Doesn't have headstrong.
Oh, I need to get a cordless headset. This thing, it's got a 2.5 meter cord, and it's just flying everywhere, and I'm standing on it. And it's just
Well,
all
unfortunately,
sorts of
there's no
awkward-
drinks to be knocking down, mate. So,
Yeah.
so it's definitely a flank here if he wants it.
Yep. They're just
He will
measuring
delete that unit. I wasn't sure. Oh, and I'm still not sure that's the right move. It's going to keep the rocks alive. But, and I just can't quite tell how many wounds is on the horde in the center.
Okay, let me have a look.
He might be able to knock that off in one turn.
Defense 5. Defense 5.
So it looks like the golems are on 11 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out. Yeah, I just
No, only
needed a bit of luck.
only a couple of damage on the dwarves there. 1 damage on the horde. Oh, they're pretty healthy. Oh wait, is that 11?
11.
Okay.
That's 1.
Yep.
That's 11.
Yeah.
Anything with the red colour
Right.
has a 1.
That makes it easier. Cool. Andrew just
Okay, so
explaining. It still might be difficult to see on stream.
no, it's pretty
But-
clear. We can see the red.
Yep. So those ones with red have a 1 on them. I'll just change the screen so I can show you as well. So the way that Andrew's got it is these little things with the numbers, and then to denote, we've got 1 on it, so we can sort of whoop, whoop, which is nifty. And they're magnetized. That's
Yeah, perfect. Well, Traishy has definitely gone with the move that I would have preferred. Charging that, particularly if it's on 11 wounds.
Yep.
Charge in, hopefully takes that off in a turn. And that's a big scoring unit.
So that horde with 11 damage here, that'll be gone. Let me just change back to the full table.
Alright, I do miss that venue. It's a very good venue for Kings of War. We'll be back in January.
Not too much longer. Okay, the Abyssal Half-Breed Champion on the far right, charging the flank of the heavily damaged horde, along with the Half-Breed Regiment. So that should be gone. I would have thought the regiment would have done it by himself, but what else is that Half-Breed Champion doing?
Yeah, don't mind it. It's taking probably a 50-50 and making it pretty much a sure thing now.
The second unit of gargoyles, he's flapping over just below the 2 point, making sure they're safe from any charge as well. Can't be seen by any of the dwarves, and now he's got 2 probably certainly scoring units.
Three scores, 3 points there already. So that's exactly what we've said this whole game. Got to kill those bloody gargoyles.
So just to reiterate, we've got 1 point here, 1 point here. This is worth 2, this is worth 1, 2, and 1. So what does Andrew do about the points on the far right there? Does he move those hordes out? They're not the fastest things. Does he keep someone on that 1 point? He's only got 2 turns after Jeff.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have to probably charge the flank, or it'll be the front. It will be hindered once again, and then from there back up as much as he can to get in the next 2 turns, because they've only got a couple of damage on them at the moment. That northmost horde.
Yep. So it looks like he's casting his weakness now.
Yeah,
Or
but
hex.
you can't let the knights or that cav unit keep going. So they have to die.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll potentially be able to knock off that lord in a turn. So, if it's on 5 wounds, I think you mentioned.
It's another spell being cast. Does 1 damage onto that horde, which is enough to cause a nerve check. If Jeff rolls a double 6, they will waver. But they're dwarves, so they probably headstrong and shake it off.
None of this double 6 nonsense.
Yeah, bleh. Okay, now we're getting to the combat. This looks like the half-breeds fighting the Brock troop.
So a good move by Traishy to just flip around that most central cav unit. Just purely so once again he's making sure that if you go in that forest you're going to get a flank or a rear or whatever you want. So but it's going to happen because AJ is going to have to move that up to be able to claim one of those tokens or potentially both of those tokens if with a good move.
And those half-breeds take out that Brock troop with ease and just shuffle over sideways. And now the Obsidian Golem unit into the regiment, just
Yep,
under
I
that
don't-
top left.
Don't expect this to break.
Nah, they're not combat focused monsters, they're good old defense. Good old
The
animal.
old anvils. Yep. So it's going to be hitting on 4s up to 5s because of the terrain, and then wounding on 2s, reroll 1s. No, 3s, reroll 1s.
3s reroll ones. So it's
Got
still
dwarfs.
a bit of damage.
Yeah, it should do a fair chunk of damage, but 15, 17 I think they are.
And he doesn't roll high enough.
Didn't think so.
Okay, looks
Crush,
like we've
Crush
got...
2 with Vicious is pretty delicious though.
Yes, it sounds like a jingle.
Yeah.
I think I heard 18 attacks from something.
It's
Which is a bit...
probably the golems in the middle.
Ah, yes, that's correct. So what has 18 attacks?
Many things in this game, my friend.
Puts them into double digits of nerve. Beats it
Okay.
once, beats it twice, and they're off.
Well, he needed it. Definitely needed it.
I might have to hit up Andrews to where he got those damage counters so I can replace my knitting needle row counters. They're starting to wear out.
No, they're pretty tasty.
I'll just put another plug here. We've given little business cards for Scorched Earth Design, one of the sponsors. They got a 20% discount code on this one. Custom laser design for terrain tokens, bases, and
Ooh.
accessories. On Etsy, Scorched Earth store, you can look them up, or I think Facebook, whatever.
And this is not a
Check it
paid
out.
promotion. Just like
Nah.
it should be.
Yeah,
It's not.
probably. But it's not. Just being nice.
I did see some commentary earlier, just around hoping to get up to Queensland for where the next Masters is potentially going to be.
Brisbane.
Brisbane. It's a long, long way to go
Tis.
for us.
Yeah, it's not just a car drive. And, as expected, away goes Andrew's heavily damaged horde. The half-breeds pivot and get into the Dwarf Lord. Or face the Dwarf Lord. Half-breed champ, standing there. It leaves his rear open to the bloody...
Yeah.
But, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I think he
Anything they
knows they're
could have done
dead.
is overrun.
So-
But, yeah. But if he does that, he's potentially leaving the scoring tokens free. 'Cause I don't know if he's got the speed to turn that board around and get in.
Yeah. Interesting move. I'm not sure the thought process there. I think I'd much prefer to give the Dwarf Lord triple attacks than a Horde.
It's a hindered horde.
I think it's dead, right?
Yes,
I think
yes,
that's
it's like, there's no arguing.
Doesn't Doesn't matter which way we cook this potato, it's
That's
definitely dead.
it's still cooked.
So I just did a quick Google
Yeah.
from Melbourne as a
Okay.
generalisation. Driving non-stop, 18 hours and 1 minute
Oof.
to get to
Yeah,
Brisbane.
we're not doing that. And the flights are probably too much.
Yeah, they're like 400, 500 bucks or something.
Oof. For some commentary? Come on.
Expensive taxi.
So we are now onto turn 5.
So AG takes the rear, naturally, as he would.
Who wouldn't?
Now, he may think about just trying to leg his lord out of there. That was a very slow beast charge. But it got there eventually.
So little dude charges the golems. Heroic charge. Not to do anything but to hold them up.
So it's just a pivot there from Andrew with the Beast Lord as well. I'm not sure that's going to be enough. So I don't think that hero is mighty. So he just needs a test, right? That's what
Yeah.
he's trying to get. But realistically, if he doesn't, that's going to be a flank charge, I think, on the Beast Lord straight through. Because
Yep.
unless you've got the mighty special rule, you can charge straight through a hero. What's going on that left flank there, Benson?
We've got Andrew moving about his horde of infantry just beside that impassable terrain. Still not sure what to do with them. Looks like he's moving them forward again. Don't think he's charging. I don't know. He's sort of hovering.
There's a lot of movement. What's he going to do with this? Bit of a pivot. Oh, man, he's wedging it right in there with that impassable terrain, isn't he?
Maybe he's just trying to get really close towards that.
I think he's
that token.
just
to
nudge
claim
it out of the way, AG. There you go, mate. There you go. It's still going to get in there, isn't it, though? Sorry, mate. Yeah, keep moving the difficult terrain. Just to be clear, he's not actually doing that.
It doesn't look like it's in.
He's
the
just
charge.
pivoting as much as he possibly can, just to try and navigate away from that those trees. Which I didn't think was possible previously, but it looks like it is.
It's very. Alright, I think that's he's just moving it and that's it. Alright, we got there. Wanna put the fence back, fellas? No? Alright, sure. So the nimble lord by those leftmost golems. Pivot 90 degrees, so it's facing the dwarven horde.
It's good by AG. If he could manage to navigate away from that forest, doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably could have done that earlier, to be honest.
And I think maybe just one pivot gets him within range of the leftmost token, so it can score at least
Yep.
in his next turn. But it was pretty poor positioning in the early game to get him stuck
Yeah.
beside a building or an impassable piece of terrain.
I'm expecting this to do a couple of wounds. Should be about 2 or 3,
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
So does no wound,
One
so
wound?
this is a little individual, does nothing to the rocks.
No rocks.
We've got the Lord against the half-breed champ on the far right now. 7 attacks on 3s. Hits 4 times. Rolling 2s to wound, that's 4 damage. on an undamaged champion. You should be okay.
Yeah, should be okay.
Rolls a 6, doesn't do it. Now we've got 25 attacks from the Horde. Times 3, because it's in the rear.
Yep.
Hindered.
It's going to be, what, 4s and 3s, I think, so...
8 damage for the first round of 25.
Should be, I think we expected this unit to just die a very
disappear.
swift death. It's just going to be what he does from here with that unit.
10 more damage. That takes him over the nerve limit.
Snake it out.
Rolls once, rolls twice.
Bada bing.
Get out of here.
Get out.
Go on, get. And they move back, I think, D3. And they go 1. Waddling back towards the point.
So AJ all of a sudden has lost... Traishy has lost a lot of scoring units in the last 2 rounds.
He's still got his gargoyles.
Still got those gargoyles.
But AG still has those dwarves, which also score.
So shuffling back an inch by the looks of that. Yeah.
They're probably still not fast enough to get to that point in 1 turn.
No, definitely not. But he couldn't flip them around, I think, just by the way that he's used that Lord.
I mean, I would have just changed facing to face the lake. And
Yeah,
then
it's
next
just
turn,
whether he would have got a rear charge from the
the golems
obsidians, golems.
True. But you also got that lord there.
Yeah, I think you could probably pivot past him.
No, because there's that little fella guy, like... you
Oh,
can-
little fella man.
Yeah.
That's true.
So if he just turned the guys around, the next turn he could have walked forward and potentially pivot to get within range.
Mm.
Can you auto march through terrain like that?
You can.
Oh, it's
if-
at the double, right.
Yeah, you can if
doesn't
you've
work.
got Pathfinder.
Yeah. Yeah, probably would have been better just to walk the 4 and pivot. Get that extra range on the horde there.
So this is
Traishy,
bottom of the 5th.
having a look, see what he can do.
So he's currently got 3. Now
Mhm.
AJ's gonna struggle a little bit. He's pretty much gonna have to use his beast lords to capture most things.
Mm. I mean, I don't think Jeff will do much more with those golems, so Andrew will need to take them out, otherwise they'll be claiming this 2 point. I would have thought this
Yeah.
gargoyle will shoot over to this 2 point. These can go
Yep,
down
and
there and
then-
claim that 1.
That's it.
But he's got 2 dwarf lords.
He does. One's on 5 wounds though, don't forget.
And they're both facing the center. Half-breed champ in front. I'm not sure if he's counter-charging or if he's just sort of getting in the way. I would have thought counter-charge would get in the way, so we'll go with that.
So I tell you what's an underrated unit right now, that Beast Lord over on the far left-hand side. So it's not in combat currently.
Currently facing towards the dwarves as well. So it's not really got anything in eyesight to charge, but it can zip out and claim a point.
It's all about scoring at this point. So ducking out, just locking something down is probably the go here.
I would think the far left regiment is gone this round,
Yeah,
even
yep,
with all the hindered
it's
Watsits,
cooked.
leaving
Yeah,
the
it's
Dwarven Horde.
because it's going to be a counter charge. The Obsidians are going to be 4s and 2s reroll, 3s reroll 1s. So they're going to probably do it on their own. The Knights are just making it a sure thing at the moment.
Jeff doing exactly what we thought. He didn't have the range to get over the forest, so he flaps just before it with those gargoyles. Out of charge arc of anything, so they're still safe for his turn 6. Puts them
Giving those
back.
hamstrings a bit of a stretch though.
Not sure what he's going to do with that, so gives it another go. No, you can't get over there, Jeff. They don't have Pathfinder, you can't flap into it.
There'll be no flapping today, sir.
Do not flap. I think he's just shoving them a little bit forward, so in turn 6 he's got the option, but then the Dwarf Lord might get them. Who knows?
Oh, take measure slip as well. That's pressure, ladies and gentlemen.
So he's just going to buck them over there, over to the right of the house, nice and safe. Next turn they're still free to move wherever they want. They can pivot once and get that 2 point on the far right, and pivot twice and flap back over to the left side of the house if need be.
Like, I guess worst case scenario, even if the Dwarf Lord does try and get over there, right, it's going to contest and take it out of the game.
Mhm.
Where Traishy currently will be locking down this one. He'll have the 2 in the center. As long as he can defend that. So he does have those knights just sitting there, waiting to jump on that too.
Okay, Hexcaster. Trying to cast a spell on one of the Dwarf Lords. Gets 2 successes and does 2 wounds.
Did we do any regen on that half-breed, champ?
He's only on 2. Can't remember if he did it or not. And I think that's all the shooting that Jeff's got left. Now we're doing the combat between the Dwarf Lord and the half-breed champ. 6 attacks, hitting on 3s. 4 hits. Crushing 2. Crushing 3. Crushing 2. 7 twice. And it doesn't look like he's got it, but the Dwarf Lord is on double digits.
Yeah, he's in a world of pain.
The golem's attacking that little lone individual. The standard bearer. Doing a fair few hits. 7 damage onto that standard bearer.
Yeah, should be pretty good to go, I think.
Yep, anything but double ones. Takes them off, and I would think he would overrun.
Yeah, try and get lucky, roll high. Never seems to work for me though.
I guess the issue here is because those Dwarf Horde is facing towards the center, he could get within range, but he looks like he's overrun enough to get in combat with that Dwarf Lord.
Oh wow, okay.
But if Andrew's able to take that Golem Horde out in his next turn, he could overrun and take that 2 point, which is central.
Is the Dwarf Lord facing this unit or is that a flank?
It is facing.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yes, it is. They were both facing central. So we got that next round of combat because of that overrun.
So AJ really, really needs a 7. Because at the moment, in his turn, he needs to pivot his horde.
8 more wounds onto that Dwarf Lord, bringing to double digits, going for the nerve roll. And
then
takes
move
it
up
off.
the floor.
Got one more Dwarf Lord down.
That's big.
Then he overruns some more. No, he's backing it up towards the token. Out of range of the Dwarven Horde. Safe. That leaves Andrew in another sticky position. There's still that half-breed regiment centre of the board. The Horde of Andrews is facing central, not within charge range of that Goblin Horde, but with points behind it to try and claim.
It's all about the scenario now. We're just about to click over to turn 6. So as soon as AG starts rolling some dice, that's going to be turn 6 and potentially the last turn. And he currently has maybe 1
Yeah.
against Traishy's already locked down 3 and potential to jump on 4 and 5. So it's pretty big.
And I'll just mark those tokens once more. Where's my pen? There we go. Got 1 here. 1, 2, 1, 2, and a 1.
So for those that are just tuning in now, Traishy in a very dominant position right now. Staring down a potential 5 tokens to AG's potential 1.
The leftmost infantry for Andrew is gone. Barreled down by some obsidian golems and half-breeds, leaving just the Dwarf Lord and Horde. But what does Jeff do with the positioning? Well, you'd think he'd just pivot to face.
Yeah, pivot to face. Make him go through terrain, I think, is the best bet.
Making sure that the obsidian golems are not going to get flanked by that Horde.
It would be a good time for the lure, though. If AG wants to charge out and try and take something's flank, he won't be able to get back if the turn finishes.
And so he just moves both units back an inch or 2.
Knowing that it's going to do exactly what we thought, right? So it's going to be a front charge, but it will be hindered.
You're on to turn 6.
This is it. Could be the last turn. Traishy, definitely up.
And for those who are new to the game, to claim one of those points, you need to be within 3 inches of that marker. And that unit has to have a unit strength, which will be as part of the list construction. The unit with the most unit strength standing next to it claims it.
And what if it's a draw, Benson?
Nothing. It's contested.
Nothing.
No points
Nobody
for
gets
no
it.
one.
That's it. We might just keep the numbers up.
Yeah, I'm not going to get rid of them.
Just
we're
while
that
we're doing
close.
We can just use. We can see your pointer when you're moving that around, so
Okay.
it's all good.
The Dwarf Lord goes into the golems.
It looks
And-
like Traishy is drinking a Fanta as well.
It is.
Can you just validate that?
I can. It is yellow. It looks gross.
And AG very rarely drinks beer while playing. He likes to be at 100%.
Yep. Jeff
is an
fueling up with
interesting
the
move.
sugar.
That is an interesting move.
So Lord into golems and then Horde into the half-breed champ. It will be a hindered charge as they are just nicking the forest on the edge there.
Now, I think that AG realised that that probably wasn't a smart move to back up
Yeah.
previous turn,
Yep.
and that he wasn't going to be able to make it. So now all he's got here is a potential shuffle.
I'm just going to redraw that too because I don't like the shape of it.
Oh, which one?
The one in the center, it's wonky.
Like him.
No.
The spice. Like a spicy too. Things you don't hear yourself say very often.
So that is worth. Let's see if I can do it better this time. Ugh, that's a little.
You know you can just use text, right?
I won't. Tell me what to do.
Not my real dad.
Oh, double six on an half-breed champ. Great. That would have been an easy win. Shoves them across a little bit.
Yep.
Not close enough to score. If he gets a 7, he might be able to.
That's right, Simon Cooper. AG, not a beer drinker during games. I know that's very undwarf-like, but he generally doesn't play dwarfs. This is the first time I've ever seen him play dwarfs, to be honest. So usually he's an Abyssal Dwarf player, but still no beer.
1 damage on the obsidian golems. Rolls high twice. Well, doesn't roll high the first time, but rolls enough. Taking that out, leaving the half-breed regiment free. So what does Andrew do?
He has to take it in the face, but to take it in the face, he's got to make sure that because he can't overrun, or else he offers off a flank potentially.
And it's heavily damaged anyway. We're in double digits. It doesn't take much to take it off.
So yeah, I think he's sort of realizing that now. He's like, I'm doomed if I do, doomed if I don't. So his best thing that he could possibly hope for is to take the charge and then make it really, really difficult for Traishy to get back to that token.
But the regiment is 4 inches deep, so if it does make the charge, then
Yeah.
he should still be in range. So he just wanders forward a little bit, and he gets a 1. That's still fine.
Yeah, like, I mean, even the regiment, it's not going to, most likely it's not going to die in 1 turn unless it's got a flank or a rear. So, against, like, 7 attacks. So, I think it's a safe move. Tracy will probably just move up, won't even charge, to be honest.
I would get the points. But
We'll
I
see.
like to see red. So it looks like we've got the horde against the obsidian golem. Up the top.
If you could charge and make sure, like, it just depends without knowing the exact distances. If you could move 1 inch and still claim that token after a charge, happy days.
Yeah. Does 5 damage, doesn't do enough on the dice to take it off. So, Traishy's 6. Countercharges the dwarven horde with the golems. He's probably stuck with the half-breed regiment, which means no one's scoring those 2 points on the left.
Yeah, interesting move by AG to not just contest and just go, you know what, break me in a turn, otherwise I've got those points.
Yeah.
And same even with the Dwarf Lord there. I thought maybe he would come back and contest the other one and just, once again, bit of a 50-50. He's 15-17, defense 6. He's going to be a hard boy to
It's
move.
chunky. Regen roll on the half-breed regiment. Heals back 3, bringing him back down to 2 damage, and that undamaged half-breed unit charges into the front of the Dwarf Lord. That should be an easy win for him. And now the Gargoyle's Gargoyle.
So that's going to be front, is it? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, well, that's definitely the move. He'll, if that's already on double digits, which is the red token there that you can see behind the Dwarf Lord, so he should knock this off very comfortably. 3s and 3s.
Yep.
With Vicious, and then he'll claim that too. So
And
I've
he
currently
also
got
moved that lesser, lower gargoyle unit up to that 2 point as well to prevent Traishy from moving. Andrew from moving sideways.
any closer. Yep.
Because he's got a higher unit strength. If he did get in range, he would claim it. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No,
Pretty
that's
important point, man.
exactly it.
If there is a turn 7, Jeff can just fly over and claim that top 1 in the top right and keep the 2, because that dwarven horde can't really do anything. It can't charge, it can't move closer. So it looks like Jeff has won this one. We'll be seeing Jeff again on the top table.
Yeah, that's very unusual for Traishy to be on a top table
Yeah.
at a tournament.
Hasn't happened before, has it?
No.
So it looks like we're on 10. I don't think he'll be able to break it.
No.
So now we're
Interesting.
Go on.
Interesting tactics, I think, from AG, just around his token placements.
Mm.
So particularly on this side, like he had the house that sort of breaks up his terrain. He only put 2 units over there, and he knows that he's got three scores over there that he positions. So definitely was more open. Yes, one more game after this, Josh.
So half-breeds take on that Dwarf Lord and take him off. Certain victory in Jeff's hands.
Yeah.
He's far enough from the Dwarven Horde so they can't charge out and potentially take him out. They roll for a 7 and there is. Andrew trying to get as much as he can or deny as much as he can. This is the last turn.
Well, what's he got is he's got to try and kill those 2 units on the far left hand side. But it's going to be challenging. Maybe the Horde.
So it looks like he's able to pivot the Horde 90 and move closer within 3 to claim that 2 point, which means Jeff can no longer get that. He can... he should be able to pivot that bottommost gargoyle unit to flap over to that 1 point and flap the other gargoyle to the 1 point up the top.
Yeah. So what we're saying there is over on that right hand side where there's that 2, the higher unit strength is that big Horde shaped unit, the big rectangle, and those 2 smaller units only have a combined unit strength of 2 compared to the 4 of the regiment. So what this means is that AG's definitely got that too. We'll need to move those when that comes over to Traishy's turn. He'll just move both of those 2 smaller units away to claim other ones to take the win.
So that one should just fly up that way, this way should pivot that way and sort of fly over to that house.
Yeah.
And
AG's backed up his other Horde, or withdrawn, and then done a bit of a side shuffle to try and get that one. But it's in a world of pain already, that Horde. So what he's actually done, probably indirectly there, is ensured that the stone golems, when they counter charge in, they'll be able to shuffle across and get that other one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jeff is really low on time, so he might not be able to finish the combat.
Okay. So AG currently with 3.
Jeff with 3. Got to take out this Horde. Roll as fast as you can, buddy.
Well, look at those dice. It's all coming in.
Oh, they're struggling.
Panic at the Disco here.
That's what happens when you're running low on the clock. Come on. Just take him out.
AG's just like, how many dice? Just calculate the 7s. What? Is this blank? What's the circumference of the moon? I'm not sure. What?
Alright, we've got a ruling here. Let me have a look at the clock.
It's a really interesting one. Tracy's clock.
As Traishy is timed out, I guess they're asking if this combat is over, does he get to do the maneuvering afterwards, or is that it?
Did he break him? What?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
So he's rolling the nerve just before they do anything else. So breaks him, and now he's able to maneuver. So
they're just saying he can?
yep, that's part
Okay.
of the combat. Even though he's timed out, he can finish the resolution of the combat. And that's it. So AG gets 2 on the right.
Yep. Yep, 2. And Traishy gets 2 in the center, 1 on the left, and 1 at the top. Hands are shaken.
Yeah.
Traishy wins and goes into the final round undefeated. The only person that's undefeated now.
4-3.
Indeed. And
Well, there we go.
he'll be taking on Max. Because Max has had... Oh, sorry, Paul. Because Paul's taken the win over Max in
Okay.
that last round.
We'll see how that goes. I'll just change screen. And there we have it. That's round 4. Second last round done. Jeff Traishy taking the victory over Andrew Goodman. I think we might be having a quick break here. I'm not sure if we're doing the lunch before the final round, but we'll end it here and we'll come back to see the last game. See who determines who's going to be Australia's next master. Continuing master? I don't know. We'll get there. Alright. Thanks, Alec, for jumping on.
Thanks,
We'll
Al.
see you next game.
Yep.
Alright. We'll be back soon.
Ciao.